What's happening, Interneters? You are listening to the Dave and Creech Show, so don't change that dial, or I don't really fully understand how these podcasts work, so whatever you're listening to, leave the internet porn alone for just a second and listen.
You forgot your name, though. When I call action, and action!
Hey, I'm Nick Principe, and you're listening to the Dave and Creech podcast. So don't switch that pod channel and stop writing angry IMDb reviews for just a minute and listen to some guys talk about movies and stuff that they do for once. Selfish prick.
Now remember, you were abused in the second grade. You never let that go. Okay, so
Yeah.
can I just get one more with the kid that
you did a callback on my bad joke.
Yeah, I just want the one. Give me one where you were bullied in the second grade. Okay, just give me a moment. If you need the hoopsie doopsie, you need to say clown face, magic face, lamb face, lion face.
Yes, I got you.
Okay, yeah. I'll give you a second.
No, I'm there. I'm living it.
You're there? Okay, and action!
Hi. I'm Nick Principe. So, before I kill myself from this traumatic incident that happened long ago, I'll be listening to the Dave and Creech Show on their podcast, and it's good. It's good. And I might kill myself after, but I might do it during, too, because it's not that good. But please, stick around, because maybe they'll have something good. I just got to get out of here. Scene.
Dave and Creech Show. It will save your life.
This is the Dave and Creech Show, the only podcast where podcaster CJ Creech and actor Dave Sheridan come together to talk all things entertainment with your favorite entertainers. Want to ask our guests a question? Tweet them to @DaveSheridan or @CJCNOV88, and they may be asked to our guests live on the show. We do have to ask you stay seated during the podcast because this ride may get a little bit hilarious. Now here's your hosts, Dave and Creech.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 29 of the Dave and Creech Show. I am CJ Creech, and we are here along with Dave Sheridan. Now Dave is not with us just yet. As a matter of fact, the majority of today's podcast is actually going to be an interview with actor Nick Principe. Now, Nick has been in plenty of films. He's got plenty of stuff you can check out now on Netflix. But he's most recently been in the smash hit, the third film in the Purge franchise, the Purge election year, which is in theaters now. So make sure you check that out. I mean, it's doing amazing numbers. Obviously, it didn't cost too much to make, but it's already made back its budget and then some. Now, there's a lot of goings-on that normally we'd be talking about today. I mean, you think you're listening to this now. Comic-Con just happened. The Walking Dead just released the Season 7 trailer. There's a new Fear the Walking Dead Season 2B trailer. They've announced Defenders and Daredevil Season 3 and all these other amazing stuff at Comic-Con. And to be honest, it's exhausting. Me and Dave are exhausted this week, and we do want to apologize to everybody out there. That's why we're not doing this normal type show, and this interview will basically be the show. However, starting next week, we will do a little more, and we'll start discussing things. Obviously, the Walking Dead wrap-up is going to be returning with featured walker Alyssa Mullen, because we've got to talk that trailer. The trailer is amazing if you haven't checked it out yet. But yeah, this interview is going to be it today. It's a great interview. Nick's a great guy, has a very funny sense of humor. Dave does most of the talking on this one, but once again, I do apologize. Like I said, we've just had 2 really long weeks. Me and Dave are both exhausted, and we did back-to-back interviews. So you're listening to Nick Principe this week, and then next week, which will probably come out on Tuesday. Actually, we're gonna go back to a midweek podcast now, since we've got a little more freedom on when we want to release. We're gonna have Lyndon Ashby. Now, Lyndon, had a movie that just came out on Friday, Beta Test. It's a great movie. You should definitely check it out. But I interviewed Lyndon, and we got to chat about the news coming out of Comic-Con about Teen Wolf, Mortal Kombat, and everything. That's going to be a great interview, but that is Tuesday or Wednesday. This is today. So without further ado, here's our interview with Nick Principe.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to Nick Principe as we welcome him to the Dave and Creech Show. What are we at, Creech? Episode 29? What is this?
Yeah, I think it's 29. I'm here.
Nick.
I'm living it.
You're living the life. Nick, you're on with Creech, too, my co-host / producer. I'm getting around.
Hi.
Yeah. So what's new in Nick Principe's life? What's going on, man?
I got a new pair of shoes today.
You did? Hold on.
That's about as exciting as it gets. Yeah.
That's pretty exciting. I'm totally digging through. I cannot believe I went to this parking lot here. Oh, man. I'm looking for a lighter, to be quite honest. I got to smoke my joint to be on this call. What the fuck?
Yeah, I'd say so.
This is the way our podcasts roll, man. Not really, but very close too.
Yeah,
I think we'd keep it casual. We'd keep it as casual as we can with you. Now, Nick, did you go and see this Purge election year?
I didn't, actually. I haven't.
Now, that's the one, you're in that one too, right?
Yeah, I'm in the Purge 3, but I ended up going to see the Neon Demon instead.
So you meant to go, you're saying? You were like, I'm going to go check out, it's Purge election year, is that what it is?
Yeah, Purge 3 election year. I'm in it like definitely 4 times, maybe 5 times. Because, it was 90% stunts, and there was a lot of stuff where I could wear a mask, so they kept reusing me. It was cool. I was only supposed to be there for a week. I ended up being there for like 2 months.
Yeah, you played...
Out of the 3-month shoot, yeah.
You played multiple characters, right?
Yeah, there's, any chance they can get to save a few bucks, they will. So, there's a lot of different masked characters, and since I was able to work as a local because my mom lives in Rhode Island, it's a lot cheaper just to keep me and put me in different clothes and what have you. So so that was cool.
Well, you had a previous relation with somebody involved in that though, like you knew the director or like the producer or what?
No.
Anything?
Basically, what happened is the second AD.
Got it.
We both kind of came up in this biz at the same time. Like we were both PAs, and
PAs for gay porn. For gay porn. Got it.
I would have done it at that time. Anything that pays. What do you call it?
Pay.
We came up together or whatever, and
came up. Get it?
Got it. But he worked a lot harder than me, and he's in the DGA now and works on multi-million-dollar movies. And he just gave me a call and said that the Purge 3 was shooting in my old hometown, and I should talk to the stunt coordinators. And I stunts is so much easier to get on than acting. I didn't know this stunt coordinator, but basically with stunts, I was like, hey, do you know any of these 3 people? And he's like, yeah, I know so-and-so. And it's like, if that person says you're cool, then, you got a job. And I can work as a local, so it saves everybody money, and that's all everybody really cares about in this business at the end of the day, I guess. So, that's how I got on that shizzo.
I love that. I love that stuntman. The vetting process for your qualification is, so you know anybody that's a stunt guy? Yeah, this dude. All right, if he says you're cool, you got the job.
Yeah. But it is like that. But let's say I fucked up, or I sucked, or whatever.
Right.
The stunt coordinator would never take another reference from that guy.
Sure, right. And so therefore that guy's reference is very important. It's that whole, look, dude, that's Colt Seavers. You're talking about Colt Seavers' brotherhood here. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about the Stuntman. You're talking about that movie, The Stuntman, with who was in that? That was Steve Railsack, right? Yeah.
Steve Railsack.
You know what I mean? You're talking.
I'm a Hooper man myself.
Yeah, Hooper. Yeah, exactly. So you're this is bloodline. This is word is bond kind of thing. We're talking bar fights.
It's such a tight-knit community. It's always like that guy Dashon who does all the Tarantino movies. It's entirely his family. It's cousins, brother-in-laws,
right,
sons, nephews. It's so hard to get in, because
I remember.
And there's the guys that are in the Stuntman Association, and you have to be asked to be in that association. You can't just join,
That's the one where they get the cool jackets, right? It's not quite the Fall Guy jacket, but you get a cool jacket.
Sleep.
Right.
I mean, God, if it's almost like when someone's a vegan, and they're like, hey, so what are you gonna be doing later? I don't know. I'm just vegan. It's a lot like that, with Stuntman. Hey, did you get on that show? Of course I got on that show. I'm the fucking Stuntman Association. So imagine if they were vegan and they were in the Stuntman Association. They wouldn't live. They wouldn't see the end of the day. They would be killed instantly.
Their bones would be too brittle from the lack of iron and stuff like that they would not make it into,
They made out of straw.
I like that character, though, the vegan stuntman. Vegan stuntman.
Yeah, a lot of potential there.
My one film, Frank McCluskey, which pretty much derailed my career as far as I'm concerned. I learned a lot on that one.
Starring role, though.
Yeah, well, I got the starring role because I created I pitched the movie. We wrote a script, and then I literally let them do whatever they wanted with that script, but yet still stayed in it as me with the star. You know what I'm saying? So it's not my name's on it as writer, but I didn't write anything on that because I wrote stuff, but they changed so much. They didn't change the comedy, they just changed the tone, the whole presentation, what the whole idea was supposed to be about.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be I was supposed to be Dirty Harry of insurance claims investigation. That's it. You know what I mean? The kind of guy that would open up a door and smash someone's head in, because he's trying to catch the dude faking his back injury, but he's mowing his lawn. That's it, And it stemmed from a true story that my buddy, while he wasn't a claims investigator, his dad was a cop, and when his dad retired, he became a private investigator, and my buddy Kip basically worked for his dad and got all sorts of insurance fraud cases where they had to go and get, pics of the dude playing tennis or the guy doing yard work or whatever it was, right, where he was claiming, some sort of workman's comp on his back. And it's like, here you are on a jet ski on vacation. And my buddy would always, he got into it way more than his dad wanted him to. His dad's like, look, just hang out in the car, and when he comes out and does yard work, take a photo. But my buddy was like, no, I got to dress like a mailbox. I got to sit out there. I got to look like a tree. I'm going to he's just like.
He's like, Dad, I have nothing in my life. I have to do this.
Yeah, and he was just pissing his dad off, too. He was like, why are you doing that, Kip? Why,
He's like, son, you realize these are the actions of an asshole.
Yeah, he'd call his dad being like, I'm locked in this mailbox thing that I built. Like, I put a fake mailbox out in the front yard, and now I can't get out, and can you come get me? And causing his dad more problems than just get the goddamn photo, right? So well, I thought that was a funny world, so that's what I pitched to Disney, and then it turned into Frank McCluskey, which still has its great moments. I think the only thing I can really say most positive about Frank McCluskey is the cast. It's got a phenomenal cast in it, including the late, great China. But the bottom line was I worked with a legend for my stunts, and my stunt coordinator was a guy named Ernie Orsatti. And Ernie was famous. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I know the name, yeah.
So Ernie's big claim to fame was he did that Poseidon adventure fall from the chandelier or from the table or whatever into the glass roof when the ship turns upside down. Remember that one dude that just like went like 4 stories through the glass roof?
I don't remember that movie at all, but that sounds gnarly.
Yeah, no, it was like shot in ultra slow motion, and it's real. It's back then when they did legit practical stunts. You know what I mean? If they jumped cars, they jumped cars. They didn't CG crap.
Yeah,
but now he was like, so now he's the stunt coordinator, and I did on that one I did quite a bit of stunts. There was definitely some stuff stunt guys did, but I did a lot of stuff. And even though stunt guys go and do a stunt, when they bring the principal actor in, they usually try to get like tops and bottoms of the stunt. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, Dave, the guy's going to swing and he's going to throw you into the locker. We're going to get that shot. Don't take it all the way, but then you fall to the ground. We want a close-up of your face. You know what I mean? And so, but they always forget that, like, it's always some meathead, the guy that's going to toss you into the locker. And so, you know, here they are. They did the stunt, and then I got to go in and match it. But the guy that's now just done the stunt and threw the real stuntman into the locker just throws me into the locker. You know what I mean? It does the same stunt. It's just, I just think that's always funny. It's sort of like, I just got thrown twice as hard, and I wasn't wearing pads. You know what I mean? It's like, but I remember Ernie. He had me up, and we're going to get back to talking about Nick in a second. You don't mind, do you, Nick?
No, of course not.
Good interview with me. But I did this thing in Frank McCluskey where I'm dressed as a female gymnast, and I'm up on a balance beam, and I jump up and I touch my toes, and of course I don't land. I come crashing down on my nut, right? And I think they had a balloon. They had this balloon testicle nut bag thing that like blew up, you know, then it went, that was obviously a pick-off shot or whatever, insert. But I'm on this rig that when I jump and I go down and hit my nuts, the thing is set to just land about an inch off my nuts. You know, like I actually stop before the thing really hits my nuts, and all the weight is taken on my butt cheeks and my thighs, you know what I mean? And while we're doing this and I'm in the rig, Ernie, the stunt coordinator, the guy that went through the fucking glass, you know, you God knows how many windows this guy went through and car wrecks and all this stuff, and they put him in charge, you know, because when you're stunt coordinators are old stuntmen, right, Nick?
Oh, yeah, always.
They're guys that, you know, have done stunts long enough and they now know how to properly do them, except for one thing. They all have had major concussions, and they've all taken major fucking spills. So this guy, Ernie, was kind of like, he wasn't all there, but he was a stunt coordinator. And, yeah, he's had an amazing career, and he knew a lot about stunts, but he also forgot a lot, you know, in the meantime. So he's sitting there, and he says, all right, Dave, I'm rigged up. He goes, and my balls are going to hit this fucking thing. He goes, there's only 3 things you need to worry about, all right? Listen to me. 3 things. And I go, you got it. I'm listening. I'm kind of sweating. I'm really nervous. And he's like, number 1. And before he got even number 1 out, they go, Ernie, we got to go, right? And he goes, we're good. And he walks away. And they're like, all right, we're rolling.
3 things.
And I was like, what's the 3 things? And they're like, all right. And I was like, fuck it. You know what I mean? I just did it. But I just think that that in a nutshell is pretty much every stunt coordinator and every sort of moment of doing stunts is like, you know, the shot always comes first, even if it's, you know, they want to do the whole safety check thing, but at the same time, when someone goes, "We got to roll," they're like, "All right, we're ready. We're ready."
Yeah. I remember, like, you know, you hear all the time, you know, safety first, safety first, safety first. I remember this one producer I worked for. I won't say his name because I still work with him. But you know, this line producer was just, I forgot what happened, but like he stopped the shoot because he's like, you know, hey, you know, that's unsafe or whatever. And then, you know, they stopped and they fixed it. And then a little bit later, the producer got wind of it and he went over and he started fucking screaming at the line producer. He's like, "Why the fuck did you stop the shoot? Who the fuck gives you the right to stop the shoot?" And the line producer goes, "Well, you know, I felt it was, you know, a safety concern and, you know, safety first." And the producer goes, "Fuck that! Shooting first, safety second." And we were all just like, Jesus, dude, like, holy shit. Come on, man. Like, I don't know. I'm like, I get it if you say that. Not in front of the fucking crew.
Yeah, probably pretty much not in front of anyone that can repeat it to a lawsuit at some point. But what was who was that said that? The director or another producer?
No, it was a producer.
So a producer went up, some money producer basically, right? Some bean counter guy.
Yeah, well, you know,
he went up
just like one of like the supervising producer kind of guys that, like, you know, they got money in on it or whatever, but
right.
You know, they're just there to crack the whip, you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least they're doing something. The producers, yeah. I'm like, I really don't have time for those producers in the sort of like the Oxford shirts with the jeans, and they're just kind of, you know, they got a little cup of like some M&Ms they just got from craft service, and they're chewing with their mouth open, and, you know, they'll shake your hand, and then they'll be there for like, you know, 30 minutes, and then they'll leave. You know, but really they really spent half their time eating either the lunch or the craft service, and then they're kind of like, they might be giving a soft massage to one of the actresses, or they're, you know, they just want to make it known that they put money in. They're trying to talk up the actresses, you know.
Sure.
Those.
Like, what's the point of spending money and being a producer if you don't get to show the size of your dick on set, you know?
I guess I agree with that. Yeah, now that you put it that way, I didn't say, all right, so you're getting to a point that I'm jealous. Is that what you're kind of getting at? Yeah, they have every right to be there. They are rightfully. Yeah. I just.
And I mean, they're also just like, I can leave, come back, leave again.
Yeah. Maybe that's what bugs me.
When I was working at like a set dresser or like a PA or something where you just grunt. You know, people don't even fucking know your name. You would just be like, oh, my God. It'd be so rad to just leave and take a shit, not in a porta potty, then come back or something like that. But just like, if I leave, I'm fucking fired.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. That's probably what irks me, is that I probably have to sit there all day, and then they get to kind of come and go. It's like, I want to do that job. That's the job.
Yeah. No, when I was a PA, like first starting off and stuff, I was always, like, looking at the jobs that the people that get to leave right when they call wrap. I was like, I want that job. Because there's, like, nothing worse after working, like, a 12, 13, 14-hour day. And then they're like, all right, go clean up all the trash. Or, you know, if you're a set dresser, they're like, all right, let's take the fucking set down. So you're there, like, another 4 or 5 hours or something, you know. But then I was introduced to the beautiful world of acting and stunts where there's a good chance you could show up, probably sit around for a couple hours, and you do your bit, and go home, and make double the amount of money that I was, or, you know, quadruple as a PA, maybe double as a set dresser. But, you know, we have it easy. Some days we have it real easy.
No,
Other
you're
days
good at that.
It's kind of tough. Yeah, I have a simple rule when I'm on set. I do not publicly complain about anything. because the crew is always working physically a million times harder than I am, no matter what I'm doing. And, it's a dream gig at the end of the day. And, like, I just know when I would work crew and I'd hear an actor bitching about something, I'm just like, oh, does your pussy hurt? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're complaining about fucking just walking this way and then saying some words and then you walk this way. And, like, you're bitching that you have to go back to your trailer and hang out for 2 hours because they're not going to shoot your scenes directly. I mean, it's like, come on.
Right. No, I agree. And look, not to say that I definitely don't get like, I want to go home. I'm tired.
Oh, sure. I do too.
Remember we shot that James Bond thing, and because of the way they shot it was like, that will annoy you and me is when somebody's not shooting something the most correct way of, in terms of like, God damn it, we could have been out of here and we're doing this again, or you're taking this much time to do that. It gets annoying, but at the same time, like you're saying, especially, I'm working on this house and building this house, and I got guys pulling up. The amount of sweat that I'm sweating during the day makes me realize that is not a job. When I'm on set, that's not a job, and I definitely should not complain about getting paid to hang out and chat. So
yeah. Well, I mean, we can bitch amongst ourselves. Like,
right.
I can bitch to you, and
yes. When we go back in the dressing room and stuff like that, we can be bitchy, but don't bitch in front of the guy.
Yeah, the guys are lugging
down
the cable, and so
right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because I just don't want to. I've been on both sides of it, and I should just shut up and be happy. I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. What was your when you came out to did you work on the East Coast in film before you came out to Hollywood, or did you come out to Hollywood?
Absolutely nothing on the East Coast. No acting school, no nothing. Basically what happened was I was in a hardcore punk band, and I was doing that for like a good I was with one specific band for about 4 years.
You were the singer in the band, or what were you?
Yeah, I was singing.
The front man.
Yeah, screaming.
It was a screamo band?
And so what do you call it? But I'd be on tour for like 9 months out of the year, and I lived at my parents' house, and it was cool because I was only gone. I was only there like 3 months, 4 months out of the year, so it wasn't a big deal. But like lived with my folks or whatever. Then the band broke up, and then I was just living with my folks, and that fucking drove me insane. So I was like, there's only really 4 things I enjoy in this world, and that's pot, sex, movies, music. Good music. Look all the pot in the world. Sex is pretty much it. Movies. Where are they making the movie films? New York and L.A. New York's fucking cold. I'm sick of the cold. All right, Los Angeles. There it is. But,
what years was that, by the way? What year was that?
Those years, that was from about 98 to 2002.
Okay.
I moved to Los Angeles in mid to late 2003. Yeah, I was actually really lucky in the sense that, the day after I moved here, I got a job at a music store.
I think you have to, you probably have to work, I'm going to say 20 times harder on that social media side now as a band. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when we were, at our peak, MySpace was just kind of starting.
Right. And that was good because that was it. It was MySpace, but it wasn't okay. Even as actors,
even before that, where we
have to do all that fucking social media crap, as actors and stuff, and it's just like a band is even
but
harder.
I don't have a Twitter.
Right, no, because you barely ever have a cell phone. Sometimes, you're always cracking your screens and stuff, and so, I'm
a big dumb animal.
Sure he could call in. I was like, is he going to have his phone? Because every time I come out to L.A., I'm there for about a week before I realize you're not getting any of my texts. You're like, oh, that phone's broken. I got to get a new one.
Yeah. These are truths. Yeah, I'm not tech savvy. You know, I have a Facebook fan page. That's about it. I don't like it. Like, you know, I used to have a Facebook, and I just felt like it was consuming me. I would just check it all the time, and then I would just find myself just, like, staring at the screen. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? Stop it. Enough. But,
yeah. If you've got, if you got time to Facebook, you got time to clean. So,
yeah.
There's other things to do in your life. I don't know how some of these people do it, where I'm not even talking about celebrities. I'm just talking about regular people. I guess they're working jobs, you know, and they've got time at their job and at their computer. You know what I mean? They're like either on their work computer or they're like on their smartphone in their cubicle doing, I don't know, you know, but. Yeah.
Well, for me, it was always kind of like, you know, there's like a handful of, as soon as you start adding in the fan element, you just get rid of your Facebook because it's fucking stupid now. There's no point, you know. Everybody that you want to keep, like, you know, what I thought was cool is, like, you know, if you got friends that are, you know, overseas or just don't live in the States, a cool way to keep up with what they're doing and stuff. You know, see pictures, it's cool. Then as soon as you start adding, like, the people you don't actually physically know, then it's like, who the fuck cares what fucking Joe Bob is doing in Indiana? I don't give a shit that you just went to Burger King and you shouldn't have because you think you're fat. Don't care.
Yeah.
So then there's that, and then there is always be like the annoying friend who's like posting like 12 times a day, and or just you're the guy who just writes the most fucking crybabyest wah shit all the time. And if you don't have a friend that's doing all that, well, chances are it's you that's the annoying, whiny one.
Yeah, I my first day at Second City, when I was at Second City, my first day on that job, this one guy, Ken, came up and was just like friending me up and taking me under his wing, and I said, hey, you know, I don't want to step in the wrong places here, so who's the assholes around here, right? And he goes, oh, man, there are no assholes around here. There's no assholes here, right? And then it turned out that Ken was the asshole.
He was the guy.
Yeah, he was the first guy that, like, chatted me up, and I sort of, like, kind of hung out with that guy for a little bit, and then I got enough people came up to me going, like, you got to get away from that guy Ken, dude. He's an asshole. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. He told me there were no assholes. And they're like, no, he's the asshole. I go, oh, okay.
Then you just become guilty by association.
Yeah. I had a good time with him, though. Guess that's why I became an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
But, let's see. What's on the docket here? You got American Muscle, which you starred in. That's on Netflix. If any of our listeners out there want to check out a full movie where Nick is kicking ass, I love that movie. Dude. That's a good movie. How many? Well, that was a movie that you guys shot relatively probably quick. Was that like a 2-week or a 3-week shoot? What was that?
3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks seems to be the going rate. People always say,
with these independents are, you know, there's like the 3 tiers of movies. There's the 100,000s range, the 2 to 5 million, and then anything over that. You know, that's basically it. And the biggest thing that these independents are the stuff that's, you know, under $1 million. You know, your average moviegoer, they compare these movies to like Hollywood blockbusters.
Yeah, they don't know the difference, like, especially when it ends up on Netflix, they don't know, like, oh, well, there's a huge difference between a $100,000 movie and what it took to even get that movie made, and then the reviewers just rip it to shreds, and it's like, well, why don't you know, have a scale of comparing it to, you know, where it really falls in the sort of like
there's a lot of movies I can think of where it's just like, that movie kind of sucks, but considering it was made for $20,000, that's pretty fucking amazing, you know?
Right.
That's why, like, you know, when like these $20 million, $30 million movies come out and they just fucking suck, it's like, you have no excuse. You had
Right.
months upon months of preparation. You know, I mean, on those movies, if you're just like, bring me a slaughtered lamb and a 14-year-old Vietnamese boy. Like, well, what's that for? I just wish to look at it. Okay, so go. They'll get it, no question. And, you know, I mean, whatever you want, it's taken care of.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
how
getting
about
back to American Muscle, I mean, that was just, like, my first time, like, you know, starring in a movie. And my biggest regret is that I wish that, and I think any actor would say this, but, I mean, that was my first leading role, like, you know, the star. And I don't think I was ready for it at the time. And I really wish that it was just happening now.
Right.
I think I could have did a lot better. But like I said, I mean, I'm sure you would say the same thing about anything that you start into. Like, oh, I wish I could. But, I mean, what are you going to do?
Creech, come on, say something here.
Oh, no, I'm just listening. You guys are a hoot, just talking back and forth. And obviously, I'm not an actor, so I don't have any kind of funny stories.
Oh,
I've only been in one film.
Hold on, he's an actor. You're in a Strip Club Massacre, so don't. You're just starting. You popped your cherry on that, and we're going to get you in some other stuff.
And everybody wants to be in Strip Club Massacre. That's a fact.
Yeah, I just want
Right?
to go to the party. I want to be able to go down. Did somebody just clock out? What the hell just happened?
I think that might have been Nick.
That's it. Nick's done. I think the moment you started talking, he was like, I didn't sign on to this.
He's like, okay, yeah, I don't like this guy.
Oh, here he comes back. So you
Welcome
haven't.
Yeah, I think, well, my phone died, basically.
We just thought that you were just, like, pissed off that Creech started talking. We're like, oh.
No, you're
Hey.
goddamn place.
He had two questions. One was restoration. He saw you had credits listed for that. We actually had Zach Ward on and James Cullen Bresnick to talk about that film. What was your role in that?
I believe I opened the movie. I just have one scene with one of the actresses in that. And, yeah.
Are you
That's
raping
it.
her?
No, she's like a doctor, and like I'm like dying, and yeah, it was a gig. I just, she's giving me this spiel like, hold on, your parents are on their way, just hold on, and
Okay, yeah, I remember that thing now.
Hey,
I don't
that's an
hold
easy.
on.
That's a good gig though. So you got to lie down for like your entire movie.
But the only thing was, laying down at school, you get to nap pretty easy and stuff. But like they had me in like traction. Like I had like all these metal appliances. I had a halo on me and stuff.
Oh God, yeah, that kind of sucks. There's like a little claustrophobic crap that goes on there, right?
They had all this like green screen shit on me because like they digitally removed like half my head and stuff. I mean, it ended up looking pretty cool, but
That's interesting, but still, yeah, all that, go through all that crap, and you just wanted to lie down for the day, you know?
Yeah, I mean, luckily I was, but I mean, still, it's just like, you just laying there, all the crew's like just running around, everybody's yelling. We're just chilling. Like, yeah, I'll take another selfie. Yeah.
How'd you like working with Zach?
Zach was great. There's like three kinds of directors. Actually four, I guess. It's like shitty ones, good ones, guys who know what they don't want, and they're not sure what they actually want. They're just very sure of what they don't want. And then there's directors that know everything that they want. And I would say that Zach is definitely the latter.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, he knew what he wanted, and he got it. I imagine, with any kind of directing gig, it's give and take. You're not going to get everything that you want, but, you got to pick your battles.
Yeah, and I totally get what you're saying with, like, the people that they know what they don't want. And those are usually producers or studio executives, but they don't know how to tell you what they want. But I think that's more about they know what they want, but they don't know how to say it.
It makes your job a little bit harder.
Right.
You gotta go through X amount of, emotions or traits or, personalities and stuff. I mean, when they give you a breakdown for a character and it says, like, age 28 to 38, tall, his wife just died. It's like, well, is he upset? Is he affected by it? Does he not care? Is he consumed with guilt? Well, he's definitely not happy. I know he's not happy. He's not happy. So, he shops at Target. I picture him like that, It's like, okay, cool. I'll just completely make up everything, and hopefully you say that's good. And then there's other directors where, like, the first, like, pre-production meeting, they give you, like, 3 pages of backstory that'll never even appear in the movie, but it just gives you, like, a good, mindset for going into the character or whatever. These, like, guys have just planned out, like, every fucking aspect. Like, in the 2nd grade, it's like a girl slapped him in the face. This affected him for the rest of his life. And it's like, is that in the... No, it's not in the script. I'm just saying, like, But I'm like, this character's like an 83-year-old man. Yeah. This has been bothering him for a long time.
You've got 75 years to make up here.
Yeah.
But think about those. I'm going to leave you to think about those 75 years, Nick.
If they're like, act like this. It's like, okay, cool. Then compare them being like, well, don't do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, so you do something, and they're like, yeah, don't do that either. Okay.
We are in a film together, even though we didn't act together. We're both have appearances in Sky Sharks, which I guess should be finished sometime next year. Who knows?
No, the movie hasn't even started, Dave.
Right.
They just have been shooting little promo pieces, like, every time there's a horror convention in Germany.
Yeah, they grab people. Right.
Like, I've Yannick and those guys, I mean, they're really cool, and I'd love to help them out when it comes down to it, but, they got all these amazing actors who just happened to be in town, so they took way below their normal rate, or maybe no rate at all, and, but now when it comes time to shoot the feature, that's a lot of people to fly out.
Right.
Because
I thought the concept is whatever they get. They want to shoot some of it in Canada? Is that what they said?
Yeah.
I thought the idea, from what I was told, was whatever they got of us is what's in the film, and then they're going to go and shoot this sort of, brick and mortar. If we're the mortar, then there's some bricks they got to go shoot, and they're just going to do that in Germany with a bunch of nobodies,
I don't know. I mean, the last time I had talked to them, they were like, still trying to get more money, because I know with my stuff, like, I mean, I'm the bad guy. I'm in a lot more scenes than just that plane. Like, I'm like, like the good guys fight me like a few times, so I know they have a lot more to shoot with me. But I don't know. It's a German convention movie. I mean, like, unless you're like, people who don't really go to horror conventions or don't know about them, they don't know what a convention movie is. But I mean, you know what a convention movie is,
right?
When I look at a DVD and it's like, Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, Kane Hodder, it's like, and Tony Todd. It's just like, I'm fucking Giacomo, who borrowed $200,000 from his dentist uncle to make a movie. Like, definitely was at like the Cincinnati Horror Hound or something, and was like, I'm a local filmmaker, and I'd like to give you money to be in this movie.
Right. And it's like, can you stay 2 extra days and shoot this?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And they're like, here's $5,000, something,
Yeah.
So, but that's, but it's an international convention movie.
That's what I liked about it, though. That's what I think would be,
There's actually,
I'm worried.
That girl,
I'm worried.
Michaela? The one
Which
who's
one was
like,
that?
Well, she's like famous in Germany for just like being.
Oh,
naked.
the hot one with the big boobs?
She's got like a reality show or something over there, and she just shows up naked to places, and they're like, "That is shocking. It's controversial, yeah." So, but it was funny because the reason I even know those dudes is because I did this fucking horrible movie called Seed 2, and we shot it in Nevada. Maybe like 45 minutes outside of Vegas, just out in the desert, and they were all excited, like we have the Michaela, something fucking blocking to be in our movie. We can't believe it. And she's going to shoot some scenes for a reality show behind the scenes. I'm like, wow, we should get some things that make it look like a fucking movie set, because you know what I mean? Like, they had like 2 RVs, and then like, it was like nothing. I think like the producers went out and got some like, directors' chairs and stuff and like some C-stands to like lay around, even though they didn't fucking have it. It was just pathetic. So anyway, like she's on this set, and multiple cameras following her like every second, and like, when I do these creature roles or whatever, like I do a lot of weird shit to like psych me up, and but I don't do it in front of the crew or like the cast, because I hate that actor that's just going like, oh, lion face, rah, lamb face, ooh, lion face, rah, lamb face, ooh. You know what I mean? Like, if every actor's got their own thing, and I don't really want other people to see it because it's kind of embarrassing and it'll take me out of the thing. So I kind of like went away from this rock, and I was like, kind of banging my head against the wall and like angrily talking to myself. And I kind of look up for a minute, and I just see this crowd with a camera, and I'm like, you want to not do that? I'm like, there's kind of a reason I walked away from all you guys. So if you want to just, I'm sorry.
And you're in like a creature outfit, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
The head thing or whatever. So
shit, and I'm just like, you want to give me a minute, bud?
How hot was that? Was it hot that day?
It was hot every day. It was fucking miserable. It's Vegas,
Yeah, and you're in some sort of like wetsuit that's been latex and made up to be some sort of.
Well, I mean, the costume wasn't too bad, but I mean, it still had a lot of layers, and there's a lot of makeup effects. That shit gets clammy quick. But anyway, so we go out, we shoot the scene, relatively easy. Probably takes like a few hours to get the shots the dude needed or whatever, and then they're like, everybody's like clapping, like, oh, and that's a wrap on Michaela, what? Oh, it's like, and like a third of that crew was German. The only Americans were me, a few other actors, and the DP, this guy Wolfgang, actually a really good friend of mine. He's a good dude.
Wolfgang sounds like a German name, though. Are you sure?
Yeah, isn't that weird? Yeah, and he's just like a dude from Brooklyn. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway.
Maybe they hired him just because his name was Wolfgang. Like,
right.
Did a good German,
we can relate to him. His name is Wolfgang. He will show us these French fries that are in America. So anyway, like they do a scene or whatever, and they're like, excuse, but could we interview you perhaps for the Michaela show? I was like, oh, this is gonna be amazing. So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, let me just get out of this shit, and I'd be happy to. They're like, oh, okay, cool. And they're like sitting waiting for me to do it. So go over, utilize one of these rented director's chairs just for this, And they start asking questions, and right out the gate, they're like, so, how was it working with Michaela? And I'm like, she's very attractive, good-looking girl. And they're like, well, did you get to talk to her much? And I'm like, well, she doesn't speak English, so no. Yeah, I'm like, talk to her translators about the scene, that's about it. And they go, they're like, what? Do you think her chances are for being a huge Hollywood star? Should she move to California to become a star? I was like, absolutely not. I was like, that town will eat her up and chew her out, and she'll be doing porn within a month. And they were like, what makes you say that? And I'm like, well, she's really good looking, but, the big thing about acting is speaking, and she can't speak our language.
Right.
I'm like, if this was the 20s before the talkies came in, I'm like, maybe. But I'm like, you got someone that's famous in Germany for just being naked. I'm like, America has their own talentless reality shit stars. I'm like, we're all stocked up on that. And they're like, okay, thank you for speaking. Goodbye. And I'm like, oh God. I'm like, way too honest, dickhead.
Yeah, you got cut out. You got cut out.
Yeah,
you should have just bullshitted and been on German TV.
Yeah. Whatever. Jesus wept on that, so who cares? But I mean, I don't know. I should have just, and a million times in my career, I should have just smiled and said yes, or blah blah. I mean, my career would be so much better if I just shut the fuck up. But these assholes ask me what I think, and I don't think. Like they talked about earlier, I get diarrhea of the mouth, and I'm like, well, I'll tell you what the problem is or what the thing is, and it's just like, idiot. And it's like 10 seconds after I say it, I'm like, you probably shouldn't have said that. Well, there goes that. See, I had always heard this rumor that the highest paid actor in The Godfather was this actor named Joe Spinell. You know who he is?
What character did he play?
He was one of the rival family's right-hand man, and then when that guy got killed, he became an enforcer for the Corleone family as well.
Right.
But he's in maybe 3 or 4 scenes in that entire movie, but Francis Ford Coppola just liked having him around. So he was on the call sheet every day. So he got his day rate just for showing up and hanging out, because Coppola just liked having him around. And, I don't know what SAG scale was back then, but if you're doing it every day of a production that's 5 months long, that's a fucking hell of a paycheck.
Right.
But the guy Joe Spinell, you know who he is. He's actually do you know that movie Maniac?
Yep.
That's him.
Yeah.
The guy who was scalping chicks and then he staples them to mannequins' heads and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, that's him.
He probably had him on there. Yeah, I wouldn't say he was amused, but that guy was very, organic in the sort of mobster kind of attitude and look, and so he probably was I want that guy around to just basically fill in that kind of space on set where we do have, that sort of that voice, that attitude or whatever it is, you know what I mean, for the other actors to just kind of, if I was shooting a Deliverance type of movie and I found some dude that was God damn, you are a hillbilly, I'd be like, I kind of want you around because the stuff you say or the way you talk is going to help all the other actors. So just you're going to be there to just be a part of the attitude, even if it's off to the side of the camera. But the thing is, you're talking about the 70% hard work. It really is where you put that 70%. And one of the things is you got to take control of your career, because you certainly can't be waiting around playing scratchers with the acting or the filmmaking or whatever it is. And what I mean by that is you can't pretend it's Willy Wonka or you're getting that lottery ticket and just wait for someone else to make your film or to put you where you need to be. And so you've written a movie. You've written a few things, and we're actually writing something together. You're a great writer. So I think this fall, hopefully, you're going to get a chance to have a film that you wrote get produced, and that will be like, I feel like that, I know you're excited about that. You and I talked about it yesterday, and I probably didn't convey that, but, it's a pretty exciting, what's the word I'm looking for? It's an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a great opportunity here, so don't blow it, because I'm going to come work on it. So let's take advantage of it. I'm glad because you wanted to direct the film, and there's going to be another director on it, and you're going to kind of co-direct and be involved because it's your vision. But at the same time, that's the other thing is you don't, and the one thing is don't turn down money and don't say no. Just, you know what? You've got a million other projects you can write. You've got a million other ideas.
Oh,
so
sure.
The one thing is never hold too closely. Yeah, you just don't want to hold too closely to all your creative ideas. I know so many writers and directors that are like, no way, man, I got to make this. And, they get inspired by the one guy going like, I held out like Jon Favreau from Swingers. He had multiple opportunities to, who's the guy from, maybe he didn't direct Swingers, actually. It was,
no, he did.
Did Favreau
Yeah, he did.
Creech. He did, right, Creech? He directed Swingers?
Yeah, he directed Swingers.
The guy that directed Go, the guy that did Born Identity, what was that dude's name?
Gore Verbinski?
No, the first, I think, Doug Liman. Didn't Doug Liman do the first Born Identity, or did he do, what did Doug Liman do? He did some sort of action movie. Anyway, I think there was a story where Doug Liman was going to be able to get the movie Swingers direct, but he was going to direct, and Favreau held out, going like, no, I got to direct it. And basically, that you hear these stories and you're like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold out and direct it. But those are like 1 out of every 300 or 1 out of every 1,000. First of all, somebody just holding off saying I'm going to direct it. Most of the time, that will never happen. You know what I mean? And and then if somebody does end up directing it, well, then it turned out that they kind of shut you down because all of a sudden you had an attitude of not cooperating. You know what I mean? So the town enjoys people that go, hey, I wrote this, I wanted to direct it, but I also want to just have everyone make money, and I want to make the best project. So if me not directing it gets it made and puts money in everyone's pockets, let's do that, So
yeah, the only person I personally know that tons of people have done it, but I'm just saying, the only person I know is James Wan, who went from directing, the first Saw for $100,000 to, just now doing the Fast Million, I don't know what it is, Fast 20, Fast 7, whichever one that he did. But he said it was the most miserable experience of his life. And I know he's very cautious now about Aquaman, because he's like, you might be the face of the director. He's like, but they basically let you just go for a few days, and then they study all the dailies, and then every single day you're going to get pages of notes that you have to do. You know what I mean? That you just have to do. And, he's yelling, action and cut, but the people writing those notes are the ones, everything down to we don't think Vin Diesel's sleeveless shirt should be 3 centimeters above his shoulder. It should be 1.5 centimeters. And in that one scene, he turns his left eyebrow, we want him to turn his right eyebrow.
I always wondered why he turned his right eyebrow. Now I know. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There it is. That's what I'm here for. But I mean, you know. Yeah, I don't have to tell you. These guys are just they're just puppets.
Yeah,
but then
they're employees. They realize that they're employees of a large corporation, and the ones that continue are the ones that are good employees, and
and let's say, like, you know, the movie's successful. I mean, of course it is. It's a franchise. The movie's going to do great no matter what, you know? A fucking Siberian Husky could fucking direct the thing, and people are still going to go see it. But you know, if it goes to shit, the director's going to take all of that fucking abuse. You know, all of it. And if the movie's a success, that'll land him like a 4-picture deal, you know?
Right.
And I guess if you can get a bunch of those big box office wins, like 3 or 4 times, then they might give you less notes and let you do your own thing a little bit more. But for the most part, you're still going to be a puppet. An extremely well-paid puppet, but puppet nonetheless.
Yeah, and I always wonder about that, like a Christopher Nolan. Obviously, you know, Spielberg and those guys.
Well,
you know, they kind of busted out at a different time period, but now you're looking at like, I'm shocked that James Wan went through that, but I mean that probably makes sense because he went on to Fast 7. It wasn't like he created
multi-million-dollar movie, you know,
right?
Like his budget before that, well, I think like the most was like maybe $5 million or something like that, and then he just went from $5 million to like $260 million. You know?
And he was doing something that wasn't, you know, I would think the studios were like, okay, you know, Saw is not Fast and Furious, so I know we got this guy, but, you know, it's not like he made 4 low-budget car movies that were just amazing, and we just want him to capture what he just did. It's sort of like, okay, he did movies where guys are chained to old rusty sinks getting their tongues cut out or whatever it is, you know? So it's like, how is that translate into the Saw thing or into the Fast and Furious, whereas like, you know, I think like maybe Christopher Nolan, he organically segued into larger films and they were just as big, but he was doing sort of like interesting movies that
make great returns too. But I had heard Christopher Nolan became a golden boy with Warner Brothers really quick because which one was like his first like really big one? Not Memento, probably the Batman Begins, right?
Yeah, the Batman.
Batman Begins.
That was his first huge budget thing, right? Well, I had heard that he came in like $8 million under budget.
Oh, there you go.
So right there, you become a heartthrob. You know?
Right.
And apparently on Interstellar, he came in like something like fucking like $20 million under budget.
Jesus Christ!
So you know you pull shit off like that. I mean, fuck. You can do it. You can make Fart the movie.
So maybe his little
like
trick
his
trick is probably to convince. Maybe he convinces his line producer and the studio people to over budget his films, knowing he's like, I got them to give me this budget. I've already like most of my energy now is thinking of how to come in under budget. On top of making a great movie, but I've had them pad the budget to a point where I'm always going to come in under budget because Because it sounds to me like if you come in that far under budget, then somebody didn't do the budget right. Oh.
Yeah, well, I mean, but you know, these are huge movies. Like, whereas on an independent, the director is breaking down cost here and there. He just needs to imagine it, get it on paper, and that's somebody. You know, that's a bean counter's job to be like, well, in this scene we'll need X amount of extras, this location, this much gear, you know, blah blah blah. So, you know, I mean, he's just living it, him and his brother.
Hey, just really quick on the Purge election year. Do you know what the budget was for that film?
That was $10 million.
Jeez, Louise, because you know that thing is over $100 million at this point, I think.
It was up to $17 million by Friday. It came out, you know, Thursday, Thursday night, it was at $8 million. By the end of Friday, it was 17. So they almost doubled their cost in 48 hours.
Yeah. I think I checked just like last week, and it was just pushing close to $100 million. So that's
they will be making those movies forever.
Oh yeah, and they that's pretty funny. That I didn't know that was I figured the budget was maybe like $30 million, something in there.
No. It was 10.
So they're very happy that.
So I mean, like it was your typical set too, where they're just they're stepping over $20 bills to pick up nickels.
Right.
Tons of shit with like crew and the overtime and golden time and pre-rigging and de-rigging. Like they would do anything to save a buck. And those guys, they were so cheap, man. Like even like the production.
How do you think I got so rich? Like
I know, right? So I mean, like the AD department, like they didn't even have their own trailer. They had like a one hole in the honey wagon.
Oh right.
Like they didn't even give production their own. You know what I mean? Like I get that out of an indie or whatever, but like this is still it's a universal film.
I do like my thing is this is if when I finally produce and shoot my own movie, I don't want to chintz on the trailers. I'd rather like figure out a way to get that right. And I don't want to. I definitely want to save money, but there's got to be some way that. It seems to me that, I mean, unless it's because that thing is a union film and all of a sudden these trailers, and the Transpro and stuff like that all of a sudden cost this certain amount of money, like the government spending $1,000 on a coffee maker or whatever, because to me there's got to be a way to get nice trailers for everyone that needs them so that people can be comfortable and not have that be this thing where it's like either costing you or saving you so much money.
Well, yeah, I mean, with the trailers, it's not like I want one honey wagon and 2 actor trailers. Like, it's all packages.
Right.
Like, you can basically buy, like, 1, 6, or 8. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You don't really, like, pick and choose. And, like, to my knowledge, there's only one company that, Star Wagons.
Right. So it's kind of a monopoly.
So that's that.
I would like to just go to like one of those RV Winnebago storage places. You know what I'm talking about? Where like the people that have all these RVs and they're never really driving around. They're just sitting like in this storage facility. Just go there and say, look, I want 10 RVs. Can you give me, just get me the contacts or, can you shoot out, who they are, just shoot out a blasted email saying a film is shooting. If you want to rent your RV because you're not really going anywhere with it and it's sitting in this storage unit for the next 6 months, you want to make a little extra on this thing. And, something like that, thinking outside the box. Next thing you know, you got this...
tough, like, I mean, like, just, almost everything except for being a PA, I was in a union for, so I'm very, like, supportive of the unions, but it wasn't until I started making my own things where I was just like, I understand going non-union. I get it. I hate myself for saying it, but I get it. Because, like, Teamsters, like, oh, dude, those guys are styling. What's that movie, like, it's like In God Spoke. It was like the first mockumentary where they're like talking to different crew members and there's just like Teamster just laying there and they're just like, people say we don't do much, but without us, who's going to move the stuff?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, literally it's their job to bring it to location, clean it, gas it up, then go and fuck off for like 12 hours, come back, see if it needs gas, clean it up again, drive it to the next location, and then just sitting around or sleeping the rest of the day. And those guys are getting like, $40 an hour.
Yeah, in many ways, especially with where rates are now for actors and stuff like that, they get paid more. They get paid more.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, over the last 2 years, because when I go to these sets and I'm like, God damn, I'm getting SAG scale, and I see what these Teamster guys are, I don't know what they're getting paid, but I see what they're doing, and I know kind of what they're getting paid, and I'm just like, maybe I'm kind of in the wrong thing here, you know what I mean? Like,
we're getting like $350 a day, and they're getting like $6.
Right.
You know? But beyond that is, like you said before, the monopoly that they have over it is like, it's just insane. Like, when I was a set dresser, I was working on this TV show called Justice on Fox, right?
Uh-huh.
And it was like an airplane crash, and, you know, if it's up to a certain amount of weight, then, like, construction has to deal with it, and everything else to be set dressing is, like, part of scattering stuff. And so there's a lot of running from base camp to the set, base camp to the set, base camp to the set. And, you know, it was a Fox show, so it was pretty big. So we had gators, right? So for, like, half of the day, we're driving them back and forth. And this one Teamster lady who I had completely gotten along with the entire show just stops her truck as she's driving by me on the gator and, like, makes it so I can't go by her. And I'm like, hi, can't go. She's like, you're not a Teamster. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And then, like, as a joke, I'm like, well, my dad was, because, I mean, my dad literally was a Teamster, just not on film sets. He was like like a construction driver or whatever. And she's, you know, my dad is, and she goes, well, he's not here, is he? She's like, why are you driving that? A Teamster should be driving that. And I'm like, I'm just trying to do my job, lady. And she's like, get off that fucking thing right now. Stops everything. Yells at my boss, has her boss yell at his boss, and then, you know, each department had a gator, so she had her captain call in like 6 guys just to drive the gators.
Oh, my God.
You know, because union law states that any gas-powered vehicle is to be driven by a Teamster. Like, on the lots, you have, like, golf carts, and those are electric, so anybody can drive those. But once we had those gators, it's gas-powered. And now it's just making things 10 times harder, too, because I need, like, 2 other set dressers with me to help me load the thing and do that stuff. So one of us was driving, another one's in shotgun, and the other one's, like, riding on top of the stuff. Now I can only work with 2 guys because there's a Teamster just driving, like, you know what I mean? So it just overcomplicates things, and, you know, whatever your budget was, it just ballooned up $500 a day times 6. You know, it blows, like, especially TV. TV just blows my mind. Like, I was also a set dresser on the first 3 seasons of Dexter, right?
Well, basically, you're saying TV's just got a lot of money to blow in the first place, right?
But they do, and they do, and they don't. Like, a prime example is this. You know, we're working on the second season of Dexter. The first season's winning all these Emmys. So they kind of stopped shooting for a minute and brought out this giant cake because, like, Michael C. Hall won an Emmy, and they won this and that, different departments. And they gave every single crew member the first season on DVD and then a nice bottle of Moet, which, I don't know, how much does that cost? Bottle of champagne.
Wait, they got their own cake, you're saying?
Yeah, they got a huge cake, and then they gave every member of the crew the season 1 DVD and a bottle of really nice champagne. Right? The next day, we normally had 2 set dressing trucks. They took away one of our trucks to save money. It was like, what happened? It was just like, you know, because as soon as you win an Emmy, you know, that guarantees you at least 1 to 2 more seasons. like definitely, you know.
Right.
So, but somebody who's again a bean counter or whatever is just like, all right, okay. So we're doing good. How can we continue to get this kind of money coming in and maybe some more money coming in? Like, what can we, what kind of excess fat can we get? Well, let's give something nice for the crew. So let's get them each like $100 bottles of champagne. I just don't get it.
Yeah, hey, going back, you mentioned In God Spoke. I actually like that film a lot. I remember that one scene where speaking of PAs, I think the actor's name is Ted. I don't remember his last name, but he played the PA that had to go deliver the film because they shot the movie on, that was, pre-digital, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's driving around getting lost, and the film's and then he forgets to deliver the film, and it baked inside the car overnight or whatever. So, I don't know if that film is available on Netflix. I haven't checked it out in a while, but that's actually a pretty funny film for a mockumentary and stuff like that. It's like a biblical, directed by Arthur Borman. I know him very well, so it's funny you mentioned that film. My favorite part in that whole film is where Lou Ferrigno and Andy Dick are cast as Cain and Abel. Lou Ferrigno as Cain, just beating the shit out of Andy Dick. So,
that was I'm sure that movie didn't do well at all because, whenever they opened the curtain to show behind the scenes of production, the only people that really dig that shit or get off on it are people who work in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah, they always claim that if you have ideas like that, they're always like, it's too inside Hollywood.
Like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I thought that was one of the most brilliant movies ever, but it's a lot of people were just kind of if you work in this industry, it's really cool, but to Joe Schmo, it's just, nothing. I don't give a shit.
Right. Is there anything you want to plug? Is there anything that America, the world, should know about Nick Principe right now?
The last few movies besides the Purge doesn't need any fucking help from me, and the last few things that have come out I don't really give a shit about.
Right.
So, Hope is Lost, starring Dave Sheridan, Nick Principe, and Jimmy Duvall. Hopefully filming this September.
All right, Nick.
Later,
pleasure.
Guys.
Bye.
Later.
All right, welcome back, guys. I hope you enjoyed that interview. I mean, there's a lot of good information in there for those wanting to try to put, some sort of mark in the quote-unquote Hollywood lifestyle and, acting and really anything behind the scenes, because obviously Nick's done it all. Now, you can check Nick out, like he was saying, on Facebook. Just search Nick Principe, and he'll pop up. But, that's going to wrap it up today. Once again, I apologize for the lack of news or discussion. But it's been a long week. So, that's going to wrap it up here for this week, guys. Thank you for joining us. And we will talk to all of you next week on the Dave and Creech Show.
Shut up and sit down.
Thank you for listening to the Dave and Creech Show. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Dave and CJ. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of Creech Creative Productions or any of its affiliates.